Hello everyone, Neve here, and we are going through the final deck in this green glyphs collection, and it is going to be the tarot deck. So I'm really excited about this. The lighting is a lot better today. Oh goodness, I just pulled this straight out and just dumped all the cards. I'm fine, everything's fine. What a way to start the video, huh? Anyway, I think what I was saying was that the lighting is a lot better in this video than the previous ones, the previous videos going over the green glyphs, because I'm doing this earlier in the day, because the other videos I was doing more, I mean, it wasn't evening, but it was very overcast the last few days, kind of rainy, and we are expecting rain again today, but it's nice and bright right now, so I figured I'd take this opportunity to use this nice natural light and go ahead and go through this tarot deck. All right, I'm going to pull out the book here and the cards, and I will not be keeping these cards in the boxes. I know the boxes are so beautiful, very, very lovely. I'm obviously going to keep these, but as far as practical use, it doesn't make practical sense for me to keep them in these giant boxes. I do kind of wish that they came in smaller boxes in here, like maybe a tuck box, or I don't know, something small that could have been inside this. That way I could have kept the small box and created a bag around it, which is my preferred method. I like to keep the decks in small boxes if they have them, and then in a bag. But anyway, all right, so we are on the tarot deck. I'm really excited about this. The color scheme for this is like a blue. It's almost like a tealy blue. The bags that I make for these will, they will all match with each other. I'm probably going to use that copper velour that I used for the Citadel deck. And then I will find some fabric, like blue for this, green for the Oracle, yellow for the Lenormand, and kind of a bronzy color for the brownish bronzy color for the Rune deck. Yeah, and then maybe I'll keep this one. This is like the perfect size box. Like if they had all of these in here, that would have been great, like a small version. I mean, it's too thin for this tarot deck, but yeah, the size though is just right. Yeah, but yeah, I'll figure out what kind of bag I want to put this in too, or I'll just keep this one as it is. I'm not sure. This is the pendulum, by the way. All right, so I'm gonna peek through the book real quick. Now this book, the big book that came with this whole set has all of these books in the one volume here. So this whole book is in this book here. So, what I like about this green glyphs system here is that each deck, there's a purpose for it being called the green glyphs. Glyphs being the key word there, because each card, whether it's tarot or oracle or Lenormand or whatever, each card has a glyph on it that is important. This whole system, this deck, each individual deck works around these glyphs and what they mean and how to interpret them within the systems of each deck. So within the system of tarot, within the system of Lenormand, of the runes, and of course the oracle deck is its own system. So yeah, so it kind of goes over you know, all the things on the cards. I think I might read this a little bit here. It says, the Green Glyphs Tarot was created with the intention of being a visually clean and easy to digest tarot deck. The guide is created with similar intentions. I cannot speak today. In the following section, you will find the guide broken down by major and minor arcana. Each card in the 78 card deck has its own page. On each card's meaning page is the card name and a brief overview of the story that the card is conveying. Following that are the keywords associated with each card. Keep in mind, these keywords are just suggestions to get you going. You will also find reverse keywords. I don't actually use reversals, but you know, they are interesting to have there. Sometimes it's nice to see the reversals meanings as, because I don't like to, if I do use reversal meanings, I'd be using them as the darker aspects of that card. Or if it's usually a darker card, it may be a lighter aspect of that card. I don't really see it as opposites, as a lot of people who would read reversals might do. For me, it's like the shadow meaning, it's the typical meaning and the shadow meaning, if that makes sense. But anyway, so you will also find reversed keywords, as this deck was created with the intention of using reversals. But if you are a beginner, you can wait to integrate reversals until you are more familiar with the art of reading tarot. I don't know if I ever will incorporate reversals with this. It's just, I don't know. I used to, but anyway, it's a whole thing. I don't want to get into that. So reading 3 cards. How one might do that. There's adding a 4th card, so maybe like a clarifier or something else. Then a bit more about that. The Celtic Cross spread, of course. So a lot of this was in the other books as well. So this is cool, the Fool's Tale, and then into the meanings of the cards. And the 4 tales for meditations. That's an interesting key. That's like an interesting word for the pip cards. Meditations instead of suits. Very interesting. How humans found magic. Ooh, that's a suit of wands. This is really interesting. I might enjoy reading through this and his interpretation of the tarot here. I do have Mr. Eads' other. I have the Prismavisions and Cosmovisions, the ones in the tin. Yeah. So, and then this one, Elephants Carry Water for the Suit of Cups. The Soups of Cups. And then for swords, we have the first star. Interesting. Oh, right, because the swords character is like the star character. Interesting. Okay, and then finally for pentacles, my favorite suit, the sea gives to the land. So yeah, that's right. The pentacle suit is kind of like a meeting of land and sea. Interesting. Okay, so that is it. And then at the very end here is a continuing your journey. And that's the other decks in the collection and etc. All right, so excellent. So I am going to zoom in real quick and let's see, am I going to go through each card and talk about that, or am I going to do a speed through? Let's go ahead and go through each card for the major arcana, and then I will speed through the minors. All right, so we have the Fool here, and there is a whole thing with color in this deck, which I really appreciate. So each card also has its own glyph and what that means, and we can read into it in the book. The High Priestess, the Empress. That's an interesting Empress. Huh. I like the starry background too, the Emperor. Pretty traditional for the Emperor. The High Priest instead of the Hierophant. I do kind of like that. I you know, when it comes to renaming, I tend not to be a fan of renaming the cards, just because it can get confusing, especially if you have multiple decks. And sometimes some of the cards are renamed the same thing, but for different cards in decks. So that can get really confusing. So I tend to not care too much for renamings. However, I don't mind the High Priest for the Hierophant. That makes sense to me. The Lovers. I do also like that these two figures are of nondescript gender, so that's nice. The Chariot. That's pretty cool. Strength. Wow, what an image there. The elephant really like pulling hard. The Hermit. Very nice. With the bridge here and the trees, it does sort of make me think of the his Prismavisions and Cosmovisions decks, because I don't know. I remember seeing bridges like that a few times in those decks, so kind of makes me think of that. The Wheel of Fortune. Okay. So it's like, how is this the Wheel of Fortune? But we can see the current is coming this way, and it's like inevitable that he doesn't have time to stop it. So I think of the Wheel of Fortune as, I wouldn't say fate, but it's like, it's almost like the Wheel of Time. It's, yeah, I do see it more in the sense of time than I do in, like, fortune, you know, money, things like that, which is certainly one interpretation of the Wheel of Fortune. But for me, it's kind of the Wheel of Time, cause and effect. This is gonna happen, so prepare for it. It's yeah, the kind of just a wheel of life is sort of how I think of the Wheel of Fortune. All right, Justice, interesting. Kind of gives some Judgment vibes a little bit. Okay. The Hangman. So this is the same. These three cards have the same like river. I don't know if I can get these going. So the Wheel of Fortune, that guy's on this path, not going to be able to stop it. Justice, kind of judging the circumstances here, maybe. Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking here, but it's just interesting that this is the same location, basically. The Justice card seems to be like a little further off from this, though. Like, it's like one more tree over here, like maybe making it past this trial, or making it past this, and now there's this trial of circumstances here. And then the Hangman, this guy, this is that same tree. He's just hanging from that tree. So I wonder, if it's the same person. Maybe he has found a way out of this situation. Anyway, I'm reading into these cards right now. I don't know. All right, and then Death. What an interesting, very simple, not a lot to it. Very, very, like, it's almost like there's an emptiness down. It almost gives a Ten of Swords vibe to me, honestly, and not just because he's laying down, but there's a finality to this, because the Death card and the Ten of Swords, they're very, very similar, but there's kind of a difference, and I feel like because he's surrounded by white right here and with a little bit of yellow here, like coming through, it's like so let me organize my thoughts here. So the Ten of Swords is kind of that hitting rock bottom card. That's how I view it, the hitting rock bottom. But the Death card is like something has ended, and that when that happens, there's only one place to go from there, and that's up. So a new beginning. So I kind of have a little bit more of a positive view of the Death card versus the Ten of Swords. I think of the Ten of Swords as a bit rougher, I guess, because that is the rock bottom. Yes, there is no place to go but up, and that's what I would say for both of these cards. But with Death, it's like that thing has ended. It has ended. So there is a new beginning here. So that's it, and it's interesting that it's all white with that little bit of yellow. Temperance, pretty traditional. I don't know how I feel about this one. It's kind of meh. The Devil, this is silly. Very silly. Not sure how I feel about the Temperance and Devil cards there. The Tower, that's a cool one. It's like just monster, like the tower isn't even crumbling. It's like the whole system has been torn up, and very suddenly, very abruptly. Yeah, I think that works. The symbol for it is like an upside down tower, but is it just me, or does that kind of look like a phallic symbol? I don't know. All right, anyway. The Star, this is beautiful. Very pretty. The Moon. I usually like the imagery of the moon, but the moon meaning itself is kind of makes it one of my least favorite cards. It's just too, I don't know, there's not enough concreteness to it. And that's the whole point of the card, but that's an energy that I find very difficult to grasp. And that's a me thing. So the Moon card, for that reason, and the High Priestess, honestly, are two cards that I've always had difficulties with. But there we go. So the Sun card, very cool. I like the Sun card. Judgment, look at this one. This almost feels towery, you know, like a tower energy. And oh my gosh, it's so relevant to my life lately, because we've been having so many thunderstorms. And I know I'm reading into this literally here, but we've had so many thunderstorms lately, these summer storms, and they've been real bad, and really bad electrical storms. In September, we lost various electronics supplies, like our modem, or, you know, yeah, anyway, and we had to spend hundreds of dollars to replace it, and we tried to make sure that it was secure and everything, you know, and protected from the next time as best we can, because we didn't know exactly what had happened or where the issue occurred. But it happened again, like just recently, like last week or the week before that, and we had to spend hundreds of dollars to replace the stuff, and we think we found where the issue is, so maybe we won't have this issue again. We're expecting some storms today, so we'll see. But yeah, that was actually really relevant to me. And finally, the World, very nice. Okay, so for the pips here, I am going to go ahead and just speed up the view and just go through these. All right, so enjoy some background music. Okay, so that was really interesting. I don't know if you noticed that I kept some time on a few of those cards, because the imagery was maybe not what I was expecting for that card. Yeah, so I will definitely... honestly, I'm really looking forward to doing a full deep dive of each of these decks, which I will definitely do. Man, I feel like... God, if I get into this, like a full deep dive of each deck in this collection, I feel like my channel is just going to turn into the Green Glyphs channel. Especially if I add in the other two decks that I have by Mr. Eads. Yeah, it just... I feel like my whole channel would be a James R. Eads walkthroughs and study channel. But I don't know. I do still really want to go through these cards. I couldn't really riffle shuffle that. I tried to, but it didn't really. It's because the cards are small, which I do like, but they're stiffer, you know, because they got a nice core in there, which is nice, but when it's small and stiff like that, it does make it difficult to riffle shuffle, which is my preferred method of shuffling, but that is okay. I don't mind it. But what was I saying? This is, you know, me being my ADHD self and losing my train of thought all the time and jumping from thought to thought like that. But yeah, so I do actually want to sort of use this in conjunction with the Prismavisions and Cosmovisions. In fact, let me pull that out real quick. I'm right here, so I'm not even going to edit this out, but yeah, so I have these. Let me pull the zoom out. So I have the Prismavisions and Cosmovisions. I'm always forgetting which one's which. Yeah, I mean, I'll know as soon as I pull this out. I think I keep thinking, I think this is Prisma and this is Cosma. I keep thinking this is Cosma because it's blue, and so my thoughts are cosmic, you know? So yeah, anyway, here is the Prismavisions, which does look quite nice with this. And let me pull out the Cosmovisions really quick. Let's see. So, let's see. Here's the Cosmovisions. Of course, different coloring, but I mean, the tarot deck for the green glyphs is like this tealy blue color, so it does kind of connect with this a bit. I just want to pull out, let me do... All right, I have a quick idea that I might use for this. Let me see. All right, I got so many boxes here now. All right. All right, let me pull out 3 cards from the green glyphs. Let's see. Doesn't matter. So we got 6 of Swords, which is an interesting depiction of the 6 of Swords. 6 of Swords. Queen of Swords. Now I did notice, I like this queen more than the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is my significator, but I kind of like this card more. And then we have the 4 of Stones. So interesting reading, and a lot of the same colors here. We got that orange color there, and then that blues in each one. All right, and now let's see, where do I want to put this one? This one is the is more of the Oracle deck. I love the edging of this one, but let me put the Oracle underneath. So I'm kind of creating a little box here. We've got Life on Earth. This was the World card, I believe. Yeah, the World card. And then we have Past Lives, 2 major arcanas. And we have Soulmates. Wow, 3 major arcanas for the bottom. Very interesting. And finally, I'm going to do 3 at the top. Am I still in frame? I think so. Let me move these up just a little bit. I think the top ones will be in frame. And then the top, I'm not really going to read this. I kind of want to see how they look next to each other if I want to use these decks together. I do like the edging of this one more than the edging of this one. But I don't know, I guess that's personal opinion. So this one is the Prismavisions, which is, or no, yes, Prismavisions, which is more of an actual tarot. So we have the 8 of Pentacles. Nice. That's my favorite tarot card in general. And the 9 of Swords. And the King of Pentacles. So I actually find it very interesting that we got minors here and majors here. And these are minors as well. So I'm not reading this. I just kind of want to see what it looks like together. So what do you guys think of that? I mean, I'm going to try to move the camera a little bit so you can kind of see. It's quite bright up here. I don't know. I think that looks pretty good together. Anyway, I'm going to put these away. And, yeah, and let's pull, oops, I got the ones in the wrong sets here. Okay, that goes there. This goes here. All right, so I'm going to see if I can read, I want to read what the book says for this Queen of Swords. Let's go ahead and do that. Actually, you know what? I want to do that Six of Swords because this is a very interesting imagery for that, and I'm not quite sure where they were going with this. So let's look at the book for this Six of Swords. So Cups and Swords. Six of Swords, repercussions, regret, yeah, cause and effect, which is also something I sort of see from the Wheel of Fortune, a cause and effect, and loss, which is an interesting interpretation for the Six of Swords, because I sort of see the Six of Swords as moving on. It says, in a moment of heated emotion, the sun takes an action that irrevocably shapes his existence. What has he done? How can the world exist without the moon? Like, it's sort of a what have I done sort of feeling to this card, which is an interesting take on the Six of Swords. I'll have to think about that for a bit. And the reverse meaning saying healing trauma, trying to change, accountability, self-acceptance. I wouldn't really see these as reversed for the Six of Swords. Like, it's not like it's an opposite. Very interesting. Yeah, because I sort of, you know, the Six of Swords energy for me is like it's a moving on card, and sometimes I see it as a running away from your problems, which we can see some of that here. Trying to change, repercussions, regret, cause and effect, loss. These words do fit that. Even the reversed ones in that same way, because sometimes you have to run away to heal some trauma. So, or there's an escaping of accountability instead of having accountability. So that one I think is an opposite, sure. Self-acceptance, or I feel like it's more of a somewhat of an acceptance of a situation and moving on from it, though I guess that's a bit more Eight of Cups. Yeah, all right, my mind is going in all sorts of different directions with this. So, yeah, I am really, really excited about this entire box set, this entire whole collection, and this tarot deck and the books. And yeah, I mean, I can't stop, you know, gushing over it. I've waited for this since like September, I think is when I made my pledge. I can't remember, but so it's been a really long time. I'm really glad to have it in my hands now. And I'm really looking forward to delving into these decks and working with them together. And I feel like it's going to be like a major project. And there might be times when this is all I focus on is the Green Glyphs collection, because it's so vast and there's so many different parts to it. There's so much to learn with it. Yeah, anyway, so hopefully my channel won't become a Green Glyphs channel. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye!